Increasing amount of information are produced in a variety of formats, that includes audiovisual and electronic media. Access to these materials should be as open and free as access to print-based materials. Audiovisual media are part of our cultural heritage, bringing a large amount of information that needs to be preserved for future use. Diversity of expression of the media in society should be reflected in services offered by the library to its users. Visual and multimedia format as source material and to include it into their collections similar to printed materials. Types of audiovisual and multimedia materials is obtained by a library depending on the purpose of the usage. Our topic in this section looks at the basic aspect of audiovisual. We will look at some definition of audiovisual, and the various types of audiovisual resources that was around and still in use today. We will also discuss about the importance of audiovisual resources, and how libraries provide audiovisual services to its users. First, let's look at the definition of audiovisual. Audiovisual could be defined as a work in a medium that combines sound and visual images, for example, a motion picture or video recording with a soundtrack, or a slide presentation synchronized with audio tape. Audiovisual is associated with visual and / or sound and is synonymous to multimedia. Audiovisual is defined as something that has to do with both sight and hearing. The definition of an audiovisual is something that has components that appeal to both sight and hearing. Examples are slide presentation, film, television programs, services such as web streaming, video conferencing, live broadcast services. Second, we look at the definition of multimedia. Multimedia is defined as a medium that contains two or more audiovisual expressions, for example, sound and image, text and animated graphics. In a more general sense, multimedia is any program, presentation, or computer application in which two or more communication media are used simultaneously or in close association, for example, slides with recorded sound. However, still images accompanying text are considered as illustration. Third, what is interactive multimedia? Interactive multimedia, on the other hand, is defined as multimedia with the order and nature of the presentation under user control. That means there is an interaction between the media and the user. For instance, an interactive educational compact disc where children could use to learn mathematics. The user interacts with the question in the media by answering whatever question posed, and the media reacted by responding to the answers. Audiovisual materials or resources may be divided into three categories. 1. Auditory materials. Auditory usually refers more to hearing than to sound. Examples are sound recordings, radio, telephone. 2. Visual materials. Visual materials are those materials which we see and can be understood by observing the visual aspect of any object. Example: projected materials, slide, film, charts, pictures, posters, globes, etc. 3. Audio-visual materials. Audio-visual materials are the combination of auditory and visual materials. Example: television, film, videotapes, interactive video games, etc. In this section we are going to look at some of the audio-visual resources provided by libraries, or at one time had been provided by libraries, because some of them may be obsolete or outdated and not provided anymore. An audiobook is a book read aloud, and recorded on audio tape or compact disc, CD, usually by a professional actor, or reader, or by the author. Originally, books were produced on tape for the visually impaired, people with developmental reading disorder, but the market for audible has expanded to include joggers and walkers who like to listen as they exercise, individuals who must spend long hours traveling, persons who are illiterate or dyslexic, developmental reading disorder, people with reading difficulties despite normal intelligence, and others who would rather listen than read. 2. Video recording. A generic term for an electronic medium in which visual images, usually in motion and accompanied by sound, are recorded for playback by means of a television receiver or monitor. The category includes videotape and videodisc. Videotape and videocassette. Magnetic tape on which visual images and accompanying sound are recorded for subsequent playback via television receiver and monitor, usually sold in the form of a videocassette. VHS, Video Home System, is a widely adopted videocassette recording, VCR, technology that was developed by Japan Victor Company, JVC, and put on the market in 1976. It uses magnetic tape half-inch, 1.27 cm, in width. The Video Home System, VHS, is a standard for consumer-level analog video recording on tape cassettes. It was released in Japan on September 9, 1976 and in the United States on August 23, 1977. Hollywood studios stopped offering movies on VHS. The VCR, though, refused to die quickly. As of 2005, some 94.5 million Americans still owned VHS format VCRs. The last standalone JVC VHS VCR was produced October 28, 2008. Videocassette collections in libraries can be in various subject matters depending on the type and customer need of the library. They may include entertainment and academic videocassettes such as popular feature film, television series, documentaries, and educational shows. Compact disc, shortly called CD, has replaced tape media way back in the 1980s and it is used for storing audio, video, and computer data files. A digital audio recording medium introduced in 1982 capable of storing up to 74 minutes of high-fidelity stereophonic sound in a single spiral track on one side of a 4.75-inch disc. Designed to be read by a laser beam and decoded inside a device called a CD player, compact discs not only provide clearer sound than phonograph records and audio tape but are capable of recording a much wider range of volume. Compact discs can be categorized on 1. Operations, read-only, recordable, rewritable such as CD-ROM, CDR, and CDRW. 2. End-use, video, audio, photo, graphics. 3. Quality of the content, super audio, super video, digital versatile disc, DVD. Let's look at the different category of CDs. CD-ROM. Compact disc read-only memory, CD-ROM, is a small plastic optical disc like an audio compact disc, measuring 4.72 inches, 12 centimeters, in diameter, used as a publishing medium and for storing information in digital format. The disc is read by a small laser beam inside a device called a CD-ROM device. CDR or recordable compact disc. Contents can be written in this media by CD drive attached to a computer or an external CD drive. Recording can be done only once on any given portion of CD and it cannot be rewritten or altered. CDRW or rewritable compact disc. CDRW is a re-recordable medium. Data in this CD can be erased, and new data can be stored any number of times. A CDRW does not have as great a difference in reflectivity as a pressed CD or a CDR. Audio CD. Sony and Philips came out with the format of this media in a document called Red Book named after the color of the document's cover. These audio CDs have the capability to store graphical information as well, but it requires an exclusive CD-cum-graphics player to display graphical data. Super Audio CD. Super Audio CD, SACD, is a high-resolution read-only optical audio disc format that was designed to provide higher fidelity digital audio reproduction than the Red Book. Introduced in 1999, it was developed by Sony and Philips, the same companies that created the Red Book. These read-only optical discs filled the ears of music lovers with high-resolution quality. CD MIDI. Compact disc MIDI or CD MIDI is used in storing music performance data and enable audio synthesizing when it is played back in electronic instruments. Video CD. Video CD or compact disc digital video is a standard digital format for storing video media on a CD. VCD standard is known as White Book standard, was developed in 1999 by Matsushita, JVC, Sony, and Philips. DVD. DVD, abbreviation for Digital Versatile Disc or Digital Video Disc, is a digital optical disc data storage format invented and developed in 1995 and released in late 1996. Digital video disc has 6 times the capacity of normal CD and it can store up to 4.7 gigabytes of content. DVD is used extensively in high-quality movie releases and it is far superior than VCD and VHS. Interactive menus, commentaries, deleted scenes are its unique features. It can store data on both its sides, top and bottom. DVD is now the preferred medium for motion pictures distributed for home use, and the format has superseded VHS in public and academic library collections in most libraries. Variety of entertainment and educational DVDs are now made available in libraries. Video games can be educational or simply entertaining. Video games may be distributed on physical media, such as DVDs and CDs, as internet downloadable files, via online delivery services, or as freely redistributable software. Public libraries have a mission to provide cultural, recreational, and entertaining materials, as well as informational and educational materials. Games provide stories and information as they entertain and educate. Video games are part of an elaborate attempt to lure teenagers into a library, hoping that they will follow up with reading and borrow books or other reading materials. Film strip were a form of multimedia usually used for educational or training purposes. A length of 35 mm or 16 mm black and white or color film consisting of a sequence of related still images, with or without text or captions, intended to be projected one at a time at slow speed using a film strip projector. Film strips are of variable length, usually no longer than 50 frames. By 1980s, with the increasing affordability of video players meant the decline on the use of film strip. A transparency, also known variously as a view foil, or viewgraph, is a thin sheet of transparent flexible material, typically cellulose acetate, onto which figures can be drawn. These are then placed on an overhead projector for display to an audience. Many companies and small organizations use a system of projectors and transparencies in meetings and other groupings of people, though this system is being largely replaced by video projectors and interactive whiteboards. Among the services mostly available in library audio-visual departments are 1. Provision of audio-visual solutions and equipment for loan. The service may include provision of display equipment. For example, projectors, LCD screen. Also provision of audio equipment, like the PA system, microphones. 2. Loan of library audio-visual resources. Library may allow borrowing of audio book, CD-ROM, video cassette, etc. and audio-visual resources in digital format. Of course, this service will require some restriction compared to borrowing of print media due to its distinctive nature. 3. Provision of audio-visual facilities. The facility may differ from library to library. A library audio-visual facilities may include multimedia gallery, interactive media facilities, like multimedia games, and viewing facilities. For example, television, cable TV, like a Astro service. Media is defined as communication channels through which news, entertainment, educational data, or promotional messages are disseminated. Media includes every broadcasting and narrowcasting medium such as newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, billboards, direct mail, telephone, fax, and Internet. Media is the plural of medium and can take a plural or singular verb, depending on the sense intended. Data storage material can be divided into 3 broad categories according to the recording method. First, magnetic, such as diskettes, discs, tapes. Second, optical, such as microfiche, and third, magneto-optical, such as CDs and DVDs. However, this format may change in the future as media technology changes rapidly, almost similarly to computer technology. Media collections cannot be used without the necessary playback equipment. While some media collections circulate outside the library, many do not, or portions of the collection do not. For circulating collections, users increasingly do not own or have other access to playback equipment. Therefore, every effort must be made to provide and maintain playback equipment to support all collected formats. Audiovisual materials are important to all circle of learning that start from the lowest to the highest, including informal education that starts at home, and then the nursery, primary, secondary, tertiary and university. So, audiovisual materials are recognized and accepted as essential means of increasing the effectiveness of teaching, learning, and research purpose. Audiovisual materials can contribute much to teaching and research by stimulating interest, providing valuable information, and expanding the horizon of experience. It is expected that libraries will provide circulation and other typical collection services for media collections. Access to media resources may also require a distribution system, group viewing facilities, bookings or reserve capabilities, video streaming, and software, hardware, and other equipment required for playback, production, and editing individually and in groups. There is more of the AV functions for each different type of libraries, but the above are a few basic functions of a library AV department. Among the requirements of a library audiovisual department may be as the following. A library AV department need to provide standard facilities and equipment for AV section and AV section controlled use. The AV department need to determine the facilities that should be provided and how it is controlled for user of the service, for example, media room, TV corner, individual audio room, etc. They also need to decide on the provision of AV devices to be used by library users. The audiovisual department of a library need to determine how the AV devices should be used, for instance, whether it should be staff assistance or self-service. A library audiovisual department need to determine on the loan of AV materials. They need to determine whether to allow or disallow borrowing of audiovisual resource. It would be conditional permission for loan of AV material, example, the loan period, loan quantity, fines, and other things related to loan service. Acquisition policy of audiovisual resources in a library need to become a policy. The audiovisual department need policy on acquiring and receiving materials for AV collections, establish priorities, and selection criteria for these resources separately, as they may differ from format to format. The department also have to decide and plan on total percentage of budget for AV collection. Staffing is another requirement of the audiovisual department. Since there is a specialized duties in the audiovisual department or section, a library need to determine qualification of staff for AV department, both the technical and professional duties. They may have to provide in-service training for AV department staff. Another requirement in a library AV department is the processing of AV materials. The AV department head has to determine the process involved in acquiring and providing materials to the users. They need to determine the acquisition responsibilities and duties, whether the department handles or not, the cataloging of audiovisual resources. They may have to decide on the duplicating and copying policies and procedures for AV materials. Storage and preservation of audiovisual materials requires a firm policy as to what kind of materials need to be preserved, what is the method of preserving AV materials, and also policy on storing and preserving AV materials. Since the service is meant for users, then, the department should decide on the AV section opening hours. It may be similar to library opening hours or otherwise, which requires the department to make their decision. The following are just a few examples of AV librarian roles and responsibilities. It is not meant to be an exhaustive list. 1. Responsible for building and maintaining of audiovisual collection. 2. Acquires and processing of audiovisual materials, purchase of equipment and supplies of audiovisual resources. 3. Plans, organizes and supervises the operations and services of all audiovisual services of the library. 4. Plan audio-visual programs for the library. And 5. Represent library or institution on internal and external committees related to audio-visual service and expertise. The following slides will elaborate on the above. Let us look at some of the role and responsibilities of an audio-visual librarian as mentioned in the previous slide. Responsible for building and maintaining of audio-visual collection. Audio-visual librarian is responsible in developing policy and procedure of selecting materials for the audio-visual department. The policy will guide on selection of library audio-visual collection as part of the library collection development process. Acquires and processing materials, equipment and supplies of audio-visual resources. This responsibility involves acquiring of audio-visual resources after they are being selected as part of library collection. Of course, when certain type of audio-visual resource is included in the library collection, it needs to come with specific playing device or equipment. For example, an audio compact disc will need an audio compact disc player to enable listening of the content. The audio-visual resources acquired need to be catalogued, and other aspect of processing to make it available for use. The materials when received, need to be catalogued, and depending on the job division within a library, responsibilities of cataloging audio-visual materials may fall under this department. When this environment occurs in a library, then the AV librarian may have to do the cataloging work, otherwise it will be done by the cataloging department. Of course, the AV librarian need to liaise with the cataloging department to follow the progress of the newly acquired AV materials.
Alright, another duties of AV librarian, audiovisual librarian, is they need to plan, organize, and supervises the operations and services of all audiovisual services of the library. So, regarding to this point, they need to schedule, supervise, and evaluate assign staff of the department. Dia kena bahagikan, kena cari staff yang bersesuaian untuk handle, untuk organize, untuk monitor all of the works related to the AV services, AV collection in the department. And then need to provide AV development and training opportunities for all staff members. So, librarian of AV department, they need to find any chances or opportunities for their staff to undergo trainings. Training ni termasuklah training macam mana nak handle this department, training how to handle the AV resources, AV materials. Another duties of AV librarian is they need to plan AV programs for the library, prepares and arranges audio-visual programs for presentation to groups. For example, feature film program for the adult community. Jadinya, apa-apa program yang berkaitan dengan AV material ni, AV librarian need to handle this program or need to plan the programs. Plan and deliver client-centered programs and services such as special services for corporate clients, storytelling for children, newsletters, or program for special group. So, any other program related to special designated users, which is related to the AV materials, AV resources, need to be handled and supervised by the librarian. Contoh, you nak buat storytelling for children using AV resources. So still, every librarian need to plan this program, need to handle and supervise this program. Competencies of AV librarian. They need to have master's or bachelor degree in library information science, a working knowledge of AV equipment and materials, including basic maintenance. So, as AV librarian, you need to have basic skill on how to handle the AV resources. Then they need to have knowledge in copyright laws, knowledge in educational instruction technology with concentration on non-print media. Now, after librarian, we go for paraprofessional audiovisual staff who are responsible to help to assist the AV librarian. They need to supervise the delivery of information services via AV technology. So whatever it is, assistant librarian or paraprofessional staff in AV department need to assist, need to support their librarian. Trains library support staff and users in the utilization of AV equipment and materials, oversees maintenance and repair of equipment and materials. So paraprofessional staff or assistant librarian need to have knowledge on how to maintain, how to repair the AV materials or AV resources. Now we move to the ICT department in the library. Ini pun sama juga macam previous chapters that I explained to you. This department is not compulsory in the library. It depends on the size, it depends on the equipment, it depends on the staff. Tapi kadang-kadang ada ICT department ni dia terus merge in IT department or automation department. It's up to the library. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to understand the role and responsibilities of the IT or automation department of a library. You should be able to explain the equipment and facilities required and handled by the IT department. So, definition of IT by the ALA. The application of computers and other technologies to the acquisition, organization, storage, retrieval, and dissemination of information. The computers are used to process and store data, while telecommunications technology provides information communication tools which make it possible for users to access databases and link them other computer networks at different locations. So basically, kalau katakanlah you tak ingat pun this kind of definition, you need to remember the keyword. Apa dia IT ni? Dia adalah application of computers and technologies. Untuk apa application of computers and technologies ni? For retrieval and dissemination of information. And somehow this information technology help us or help the users on finding the information and help the librarians as well to provide the information to the users. Another definition of IT, a very broad term encompassing all aspects of the management and processing of information by computer, including the hardware and software required to access it. IT and library automation is closely related and often interchangeably. So, bila kita kata IT and library automation ni, selalunya dia akan berkait ataupun kadang-kadang they merge it together. So, ICT service, this is an example in certain libraries, which is in Monash University Library, Islamic International University Library, KL Library Dataran Merdeka, and USIM Library. Ni contohnya dekat our library pun ada kan, PSB pun ada kan. Okay, definition of IT. In library, IT is understood as the use of computer system and telecommunications equipment in information handling, consisting of essentially three basic components. So in the library, you need to remember that we have three basic components of IT. First, electronic processing using the computer. Second, transmission of information using telecommunication equipment. So whatever it is, library need to involve the transmission of information, the dissemination of information, and dissemination of information multimedia. There are few categories of ICT technologies. First, ICT service. ICT service including capturing technologies, for example, camcorders, scanners, Second, storage technologies. For example, CD-ROM, server, hard disk. Nowadays, storage technologies kita dah tak guna dah. Okay, tak guna dah. Jarang lah library akan guna server ataupun hard disk or CD-ROM. Now we are using cloud computing because of it contain unlimited storage. Then processing technologies, for example, application software, Microsoft Word, Excel, customized software, for example, Koha, Ilmu, etc. This is the library system. And then we have communication technologies, for example, local area network, wide area network, and wireless technology. We also have display technologies, for example, computer monitors, television, e-book. This is the technologies. So example of ICT services in libraries, camcorders, servers, and then hard disks. This is examples of storage devices. Okay, as I mentioned to you before, cloud storage, cloud computing. Sebab apa? Ni sebab kita tak ada, kita prefer ni because of it is the main reason because of unlimited storage, and then you tak perlu nak susah fikir backup ke apa. InsyaAllah our storage or our memories will keep in this cloud storage. Okay, ICT technologies adopted by libraries. First, we have computer terminals, personal computer and desktop as workstations and users terminals. Okay, most of the libraries nowadays, they provide computers, desktop for the users. And then broadcasting and TV equipment, cable TV, terrestrial TV. Okay, ada selalu kat library ada leisure area kan. Kat leisure area tu ada television and so on. That is one of the ICT services implemented in the library. Electronic components, for example, DVD player, LCD, LED, television panels, VCR player. Computer printers, kita ada laser printer, inkjet printer, dot matrix printer. Scanners, we use digitization, copying, and security screening. And we also have servers. Okay, another IC technologies adopted by libraries is television and television cameras, including TV broadcast, CCTV. We also adopted audio equipment, ada earphone, headphones. We also adopted projectors, telephones, as well as facsimile machines. Okay, ICT are applied in libraries for various purposes. Kita guna ICT dalam perpustakaan ni disebabkan banyak sebab. Antaranya adalah housekeeping for storing all of the resources in the library, and then management and administrative functions, providing different electronic and digital media. And then we also have computer-aided electronic equipments, network and internet in retrieval and dissemination of information, for data storage, processing, and dissemination. So this is all of the purpose on why we are using ICT in the libraries. Okay, this is a ICT that is commonly adopted by the libraries. First, we use web technology, World Wide Web, web browsers, websites. Okay, web technology. As you can see nowadays, most of the libraries have their own website, have their own web portal. So that's why we see that libraries is adopting this web technology. And then internet technology, network of computer networks, networking technology, including LAN, WAN, wireless network, and then optical disk storage technology, CD-ROM, DVD. Okay, libraries also adopting scanning technology, OCR scanner for the circulation purposes, and barcoding technology also for circulation services, RFID technology. RFID technology ni macam you boleh tengok dekat library tu for circulation purpose, and then if you notice kalau dekat PSB ada security gate tu kan, means kalau misalnya you bring out books without going through circulation counter, the gate will alarm, will produce an alarm. So that is one of the RFID technology. And also this RFID technology can detect how many visitors of the library in a day. And then reproduction technology, printing and reprographic technology. So library ICT department. Functions of the department. The IT or automation department is responsible to install and maintain ICT-based working environment and coordinates library automation system and other uses of ICT in a library. So basically, library ICT department will handle all of the IT things in the library. The staff also administer and maintain all of the library server system. So kalau library tu guna server, staff in IT department, automation department will handle or maintain this library server. The IT or automation department also maintains library specific services and software. So besides maintaining library server, they also maintain library software or library specific service related to ICT or IT. They also manage, develop, and explore new digital and technology solutions related to website or mobile library services. So any new trends, any development related to the digital or technology need to be, maksudnya this department need to cope with the new trends in ICT for libraries. The IT or automation department is also responsible for planning, designing, implementing and maintaining. So, ni yang penting lah, diorang kena plan. What is the IT or what is the system need to be adopted in the library and design the system. After that, they need to implement. After implement, they need to maintain the implementation of ICT or IT in the library. So what they need to do all of this through the library computing system, for the library computing system, including database network, library instruction classroom, media or computer rooms, as well as public or staff workstations and terminal throughout the library. So any IT application, any IT implementation, any IT execution in the library, the process of planning, designing, implementing and maintaining need to be handled by this ICT department or automation department. Another services by library ICT department including virus checks, application software usage, printing, computers and printers, virtual learning environment, email registration, technical assistance. They also need to handle OPAC and internet access in the library. Okay, another services yang diorang kena tengok juga, television broadcast viewing, video recording viewing, electronic document delivery, network information resources, bulletin board services. So in a simple word, anything related to the IT handled by this IT or automation department. Okay class, this is the example of electronic media resources in libraries. We have online databases. I believe that you are familiar with these resources. We have commercial and in-house databases. Internet, World Wide Web. Ni pun I rasa you all dah master dah. Video, audio and digital compact disc collections, digitization and digital library, and then very small aperture terminal, which is VSAT. So, policies of library IT department. So, apa yang diorang kena handle dekat dalam polisi ni, they need to handle policy on the provision of IT service, utilization of IT service, and policy on data storage. Macam mana nak store data, kat mana nak store data, how many data that can be stored, how many data that can be kept. Then policy on IT hardware, including brand, capacity, pricing, spec, quantity, lifespan, maintenance, etc. They also need to know the policy on networking, specifications, collaborations, and resource sharing, service accessibility, the connections, etc. Anything related to networking. They also need to going through the policy of web service, access policy, wireless and access policy, video streaming, as well as social media. Okay, another policies of library department, including databases and application software support policy, fees imposed for utilizing the IT services, policy on digitization, policy on managing computer lab in library, policy on data security, IT human resource requirement policy. Okay, that's all for this chapter.